That's what's going on, Migan here. I'm overwhelmed with emails and messages, specifically fat loss questions. And one thing I noticed from all these questions is that most people are overcomplicating things, right? So I was like, you know what, fuck it. I pulled out the OneNote and I decided to take full advantage of the screen recording shit that I got going. So I just drew everything out and I'm trying to condense as much information as possible in a 5 minute video. Matter of fact, let me reset the timer right here. And hopefully that answers all your questions, right? Because a lot of times people overcomplicate things, and then you know people are asking, what's the best diet? What's the best training program? What's the best blah 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 to lose fat? Once you understand this big picture right here, you'll be able to answer the question yourself. Remember, this channel's purpose is to make you self-sufficient, to make you able to answer life's questions by your own goddamn self, right? So I'm gonna refer everyone to this video from now on, and I'm gonna try to keep it short, you know, as always. And once again, I might fucking lie. All right, let's go. So number one, look on the left we have the fat cell, on the right we have the muscle cell, right? I'm trying to keep everything simple, so I'm gonna skip a lot of details, only what really matters. All you need to know to answer your question of what's the best fat loss program and what's the best diet or whatever, is whatever speeds up this process. Notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 listed here, right? Whatever speeds up this entire process is gonna be the best for you, right? So number one, we're gonna start with energy stress. Fat loss begins with a demand for energy. Ingrain that into your head. You need a demand for energy, whether from fasting, training, HIIT, dieting, cardio, doesn't matter. Your body needs to set, it needs to sense a demand for ATP, which is up here, energy. All right, so once that signal is sent, your body's gonna go ahead to the hormones, the big dogs. I make a lot of videos about hormones. Your body can't do a single thing without hormones, right? They're the messengers of the human body. When your body wants to build muscle, hormones. Your body wants to lose fat, hormones, right? Your body wants to fuck shit up and break your muscles and all that stuff, hormones. So hormones, go ahead. I'm gonna skip all the different hormones, right? Let's just focus on norepinephrine or epinephrine, adrenaline, whatever you want to call it, depending on what country you live in. In America, we call it adrenaline and noradrenaline. Outside of the U.S., you guys call it epinephrine. Doesn't matter. Um, that's one of the most powerful fat burning hormones. You also have glucagon, which is the inverse of insulin, and it's released when you're fasting, when your blood sugar is low. But in short, let's focus on norepinephrine. They all act similar, right? So obviously, norepinephrine is going to bind to the beta receptors. Once again, you have alpha receptors, beta receptors. The beta receptors are the ones that adrenaline binds to and activates its effect. Those are also increased by testosterone. The more testosterone you have, the more beta receptors you have. Those red fuckers right here. So those green fuckers, which are the hormones, are gonna bind to the beta receptors and they're gonna activate, all that fancy chemistry shit, right? I'm gonna skip that. They're gonna activate the G protein, then the adenylyl cyclase, then that's gonna go ahead and activate CAMP and then PKA, blah blah blah. Skip all this shit. Follow this green arrow right here, and those hormones are gonna indirectly activate HSL. You guys are familiar with that? That's hormone sensitive lipase. All it does is it splits up the fatty acids, which are CHO here, right, from the glycerol backbone. Remember, when you're losing fat, you're not losing the fat cell, you're losing the contents of the fat cell, which is triglycerides, simply glycerol attached to fatty acids. So this hormone, what it's going to do is going to separate the glycerol, right, and it's going to go to the liver to be metabolized from the fatty acids. The fatty acids are what you're really losing. Those fatty acids are going to go through the blood, and they're going to go and enter the muscle cell, the muscle cell, which is stage 4. Notice I put a C here. You guys are familiar with carnitine. Carnitine is what helps the fatty acids get into the muscle. Remember, 85% of your fat gets burned inside the muscle cell, right? Especially at rest. So the mitochondria of the muscle cell is where all the burning takes place. Carnitine is going to facilitate that process. Don't worry about carnitine. You're getting that through your diet, right? It's a non-essential amino acids, meaning as long as you're eating enough of the essential amino acids, your body's going to make carnitine. So don't worry about that. So that's going to go inside the mitochondria. It's going to get burnt off. This is stage 5. Obviously, you need oxygen here, which I labeled as O2. It's going to break apart the fatty acids, and they're going to be released through, I already mentioned this before, 84% carbon dioxide, 16% water, and obviously ATP, which is the whole reason why this whole process began in the first place. It was the demand for energy. All right, so once again, I'm going to reiterate the whole thing. You need stage 1, the demand for energy. Stage 2, the hormones. They're going to bind to the receptors, lead to stage 3, which is the splitting of the glycerol and the fatty acids. And then the fatty acids are going to go through stage 4, meaning carnitine is going to help them get inside the mitochondria. And then stage 5, oxygen is going to come in and burn them off into carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Remember, 84% carbon dioxide, meaning 10 pounds, if you're losing 10 pounds of fat, 8.4 pounds of those are going to be exhaled. That's why it's very important to do cardio and physical activities and things like that. Yes, you could also lose fat by just dieting. This just speeds up the process. All right, guys. Hope that answers the question. Hope that simplifies things. Um, if you have any questions, just comment below. I'm going to upload the long version probably a week from now because I made a longer version, but it was like 15 minutes long. And the whole point of this video was to simplify everything. So hope this helps. And if you got any questions, let me know. All right. So once again, conclusion, any diet, any training program that speeds up any of these 5 stages is going to be optimal for you, right? HIIT, for instance, you increasing stage 1, you increasing stage 5, and by increasing your hormone levels, you increasing stage 2 as well, right? Dieting, you increasing stage 1, on and on. It goes on and on. Just rate your program or your training regimen on how effectively it speeds up all those 5 stages. All right, guys, that's it. Comment below. Don't forget to vote for the next videos. The links are in the description. I'm out of here. Other segments. So go in the comment section and just vote. Vote on what you think is your most requested topic, and then obviously the one that has the most likes are the ones that are going to prioritize. In case let's